What's going on, guys? This is my Stamina build. Let's go right into the stats here. We're going to start off with 700 mag recovery, 2k stamina recovery, 4400 weapon damage, 15% crit, and 9700 pen. Fully buffed up. We're going to rocking 2900 stamina recovery, 1500 health recovery, 1200 magical recovery, 4700 weapon damage, 9700 pen, and 22k resistances with 1500 crit resist. We're also running 29,000 max health and 26,000 max stamina. We're running the serpent and takeaway broth for this build since we don't need the extra magical recovery. For our sets, we're running Stuns on the front bar, and then we're running Rally Cry on the back bar here, along with Magma Incinerate, and then One Piece Malakath. So we're going to be running Reinforce on our chest, our helmet, and our legs will be impen. These four will all be heavy. These three will be heavy. Boots, our hands, and our shoulders are going to be medium well fitted. And our waist will be light because Rally Cries comes in light. Prismatic glyphs on the big pieces. For our jewelry, it's going to be all infused, double weapon damage, and then one recovery glyph. Our weapon's going to be a maul with a weapon damage enchant. You can go shock here. I just prefer weapon damage. With Sharpen, Maul sharpens to get the most overall damage. You can run Sword Sharpen here if you want a bit more weapon damage, but Maul Sharpen gives you plenty of pen, which will out damage the sword in the long run. Rally Cry Sword on the back bar here. Oh, we're also running Stun 4-piece, so we get the extra weapon damage on the back bar, just to increase our healings by a bit. So we run Crit and Magic on the back bar. What Rally Cry does is whenever you critically heal yourself, you gain 300 weapon and spell damage and 1600 critical resistance for 20 seconds, and then it reduces it by 15 weapon and spell damage and 83 crit resist per party member. This is super strong, even running solo. Very insane how much damage and crit resist you get, especially for a set that you can use on your back bar. Very, very massive. And then Magma Incinerate, when you heal yourself or a group member, it increases their weapon and spell damage by 215 and their armor by 3k. This happens for 10 seconds. This is also really nuts. Gives you a bunch more armor and gives you more damage. Plus it gives you double recovery, which is really good. And then we're running Malakath here. Increase our crit damage. Our damage done by 16%. And reduces our crit damage by 50%, which gives us more overall damage. We are running a stamina recovery glyph here. You can run weapon damage, but I thought since I was having a harder time to sustain with this build, that you should probably put a recovery glyph on if you're going to do open world or battlegrounds. With a recovery glyph on, I never had any problem sustaining whatsoever, but against the very high damaging builds when I didn't have the recovery glyph on, I definitely struggled a bit more to sustain properly. That's why I ended up putting the recovery glyph on. Stuns gives you the most overall damage out of any set. Gives you that 5k pen, double weapon to spell damage, and then more pen, which is just crazy. Most overall damage you're gonna get on a set. With this build, by the way, with Pierce gives us 9k, Stun gives us 9k plus 9k here. On the front bar is 18k, and then Stuns is 5k, so we get about 22,000 pen, which we are gonna be over penning light users, but for most medium users and whatnot, you will be doing just enough pen to negate all the resistance, and this gives you so much extra damage. Alright, onto our skills. We're running Execute here, Rally, Blast Bones, Dizzy Swing, and Race Against Time, and Dawnbreaker or Smiting. Your flex spot is Race Against Time. Depending on what you're doing, you can definitely switch this out. For example, you can run Flesh here, which gives you a big nice heal. Definitely you can run this. I have the magic of staying to use this quite a bit in fights. Definitely an option. Another one you can run is Boneyard here, a bit more AoE. You can also run Skeleton Archer if you want more single target. It all comes down to you, but Racing Against Time is definitely very good since it gives you that minor force and increases your movement speed and critical damage by 10%. You want to get all your passives pretty much, since most of your passives are useful and whatnot. Make sure you get all your passives. Build, we're going to be running Orc, because I just prefer Orc over every class, but Imperial will be very good on this build as well. Say with Nord if you want to be a bit more tanky and whatnot. Even Wood Elf will be fine. Onto our back bar here, we're running Spirit Guardian. one of the Stamco's best abilities. Pierce Armor for the extra pen, Vigor, Mortal Coil, and beckoning armor, and then temporal guard to get the minor protection on the back bar. Fully, if I put this on here, fully buffed up on our back bar. Heals hit for 21,000 and 21,000 here, and this heals for 5k. It's not super high, but you also gotta remember that's because our sets aren't proccing here. So we're missing about 500 weapon damage from our 2 sets. And our sets give us a lot of tankiness, gives us 3,000 extra armor, and gives us 1,600 critical resist, which is insane. So you can basically skip running in pen. You could also drop in pen here if you don't want it, and run something else like another well fitted, or even reinforced here if you want to. Same with the shield, you could also drop this in pen if you wanted to. Since your back bar gives you plenty of crit resist, the only problem with that is that this makes you more prone to one shots before you get this proc off. Alright, now let's go into our CP. Our CP for this build is going to be pretty simple. It's going to be Exploiter, Mastered Arms, Swift Renewal, and Deadly Aim. Since basically all our heals are heal over time, Swift Renewal is a must have in my opinion. Deadly Aim, single target attack, steal 3% per damage per stage. Pretty massive. Direct damage, also increases all our damage. And then increases our damage against off balance enemy by 10%. Very strong passive, must have, since we're going to be constantly sending them off balance with Dizzy. Onto our red tree here, we're running Vitality, Fortified, and Survival Instincts here. The best one gives you the status effect one, reduces the cost by 25% of all your skills. The sustain from this is unparalleled by any other CP. I think this is the best overall CP passive in the entire game. Must have on every build. And then this just gives us extra recovery, extra armor, and extra health. All very nice. I'd also recommend getting all your passives once again here. If you want to do, you can also do crowd control here. That's not a bad. Juggernaut or Harden. These are not bad to combo with each other either. If you want to get rid of something like this, and something like the max health, and put more points into max health, and then less points into stamina. That is another option you can go for. Is just put points into Harden and Juggernaut and get rid of this one and this one. That is definitely another build path you can go with. Our green tree, the only one to note is liquid efficiency. Everything else is pretty much irrelevant. War mount's nice, but doesn't really matter too much. Green tree is pretty much all up to you. I wouldn't stress out too much about it. Alright, and then the way to play this build in combat, if you always want to start on your back bar, go for the medium weave into the tears. After you do that, you proc blast bones. Then you go for the dizzy. And you go for the medium weave to get the stun off from the off balance. Since whenever someone is stunned, whenever someone has off balance on them, like that little circle above their head, if you medium weave them, it'll just stun them like so. But generally, you just want to make sure they're always pierced. Proc the blast bones. You go for one dizzy and then for the Dawnbreaker. So you basically go dizzy, Dawnbreaker as the blast bone hits, so they're on the ground. The blast bone does full damage, and then you just do like a quick medium weave into an execute. And if that doesn't kill them, you just keep executing until they can get their health back up. And that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions regarding the build, I'll be happy to answer any questions down below. And with that, I hope you guys enjoyed.